back side, and that's how much the weld has come through. Okay. Hey guys, welcome back. In this video we're going to continue on with the restoration of this 1970 Westphalia patina queen, right? And in this video we're going to go on the cargo floor. Okay, so just behind me there, right, we're going to go into the cargo floor. We've already done, you'll see the little grey patch. Okay, so we've already done that in the previous video. Lots of tips and tricks, not so much about overhead welding, because overhead welding is not that difficult. But I go in detail about how to get a patch panel welded in and how to set up your weld set as well, which is critical. That's, you start off with your settings, right, and getting everything sweet. I'll just cover a little piece in the beginning of this video here now. I'm going to cover a little piece as regards this guy. Okay, so it doesn't want to, we won't force it. I'll show you in a more descriptive footage as we go on. Okay, but this video is about repairing your cargo floor in your bus. Okay, and what we have here is we have two contradicting shapes. We have corrugated shape, and we also have flat, and the two of those marry together. In the original format, that's what happens. It's pressed, it's a press panel, so you have corrugation, and then it angles off and it goes into a flat plane. We only have some old stock to match the bus, some old stock cargo floor. We don't have the cargo floor where it goes out into a flat plane, and that's what we're going to have to deal with in this video, how we go about making that, right? And again, all the welding in of that panel will be the same as last, you know, so I won't go into too much depth about the welding in the things on this one, you know. So I hope you like the tips and tricks. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you find it formative, guys. And in case I'm pushed for time, because the end of these videos or even the process in making these videos, I tend to run on a bit, and so I won't say goodbye now, but if I don't say goodbye at the end, it's like, you know, that's possibly the reason, you know. It's, yeah, because it takes me 5 minutes to say goodbye as well. Let's get stuck in, eh? Okay guys, if you remember in the last video, I showed you this briefly, yeah? And basically what I was doing was, before I went welding on the panel, right, I put this little piece 1mm thick in the vise here, and I wanted to just get fine tune and find the sweet spot on the weld set. Okay, and I put 5 little tacks there, and you can see one of those, right, the one over here is very cold, right? And what I mean is it hasn't sunk in like the others. Okay, now that could have been because I left the blob on the end of the wire. Okay, and that's the effect it would have on it. However, the other 4 spot welds, you can see, have really sunk themselves in, and you can see the heat ring. Just take that out there. You can see the heat ring around it, around each one of those, especially this bottom one here at 6 o'clock. You can see the heat ring. Okay, but why I wanted to show you this was, I didn't mention it in the last video, but if we flip it around, this is what I was talking about. Okay, now that's the back side of the weld. That's what's known as the back side of the weld. Yeah, and you'll see there, if I can try and get this light better for you, right there, there's a good picture. You can see there, right, that's the back side, and that's how much the weld has come through. Okay, that's how much the weld has come through, guys. So you don't have to worry about penetration when we're talking about 1mm, right? Or 0.914, in fact. You don't have to worry about penetration. You're going to be a very bad welder if you start worrying about penetration on you know, 1mm stuff. So penetration would be, when you hear people talking about penetration, and we're talking about body work, you know, in your classic cars and stuff, that's ridiculous. I mean, you know, obviously you're going to have penetration. To burn 0.6 wire, you're talking 50 or 60, yeah, amps. And 50 or 60 amps onto 1mm is split second trigger pulling. That's all it is, right? So never fear about penetration. The only issue you might have with penetration is if you have contaminated steel, paint, oil, you know, debris or rust or etc. That's the only time you would have issues with penetration, because it wouldn't be bonding into it basically. So that's just another little, just to cover that, and what the weld looks like on the backside. And you can see the cold weld there. Look, it never came through. You see a small little dimple, not even a dimple, just like a, there's like a heat ring in the middle of all those four onto the left side there. Yeah, just a heat ring. But when we flip it over, you see how the four melted in, but there's just one cold spot. Now that's what you don't want, you know. It's like a nipple almost. Also, guys, you will have seen this in the last video, this patch panel repair, and that's a hole that was there for one of the screws, so that needs to be cleaned. Just take the paint off and weld that from here before we drop the van down the bus. And also there's a hole to be drilled here, and that hole is a 10mm hole, just like these ones, yeah, about 44mm back from here. So that's where that hole goes. Okay, just to, I'm sure we'll see it again, but I'm just saying that's, and then that's finished. We're going to let the bus down, and we're going to start now on the cargo floor. Now we're going to just clean up this and put a little bit of weld on that, and that's that finished, apart from just pressing it down a small bit. Yeah, this panel was damaged, and you know, you see it in the last video. Okay, I thought I was on record and it's not, so yeah, there was a hole, and that's filled in now. Yeah, I'll show you how I do those as well in another video, or maybe later on in the video. If we come up across more holes, and I'll go through it with you. You'll see how that's done, or how I do it. The best way to do it, really. Okay, so we'll move on, and we'll get this bus off of here, guys. Yeah. think about there should do us, guys. Let's have a look. Yeah. The rubber door seal. Let's bring you off of there and show you the inside. Okay, so that's the patch panel, what we done, okay? So that's the patch panel we done. And now that's the inside of the patch panel, yeah? So you can see how the weld has come through on the inside, yeah? All around, yeah? And there, we won't be cleaning that. There's no need to clean this, right? Because if we come up out of it, now you see where I am, yeah? Now we've done this before, okay? So it's a little bit dark in here, isn't it, guys? So I think I need to set up some lights now again, because we're in the dark. Yeah, we're in the dark, guys. I'm gonna have to set up some lights, yeah? But like I was saying, we've been here before, okay? And this has all been done in the past, okay? We done this area, yeah? And now we have to close up this hole here. And this is what I was talking about. You have corrugation along here, yeah? And then it's flat here, obviously. So the corrugation runs all the ways up here, all the ways up here, all the ways up here. And this is the ridge of the corrugation here, but it's gone. You know, this comes down. So there's no corrugation there. And so we're going to have to make this up, right? Another little piece, tricky enough, yeah? But I hope you can make that out. So, first of all, we've done the assessment, I suppose. We're not going to make a piece that's like fits this shape, the butterfly shape. No, we're going to cut this out square again. That's how we approach it. And then work on this flat piece here, yeah? I might get another picture of a bus or something, and you'll see that this corrugation finishes here in line with this one. See how this one finishes here? And runs down and then runs up here. So that's what we have to do with this corrugation, right? Or profile. So that's what we're going to do, guys. We'll probably, you can see here there's you know, this runs down here and here, so we might hold the low side here, but the low side is always troublesome. I told you that. It's much easier to have a cut along here at the top of it and along here right on the crown or the ridge, the outside corner, yeah? That's a much easier place to put a weld and to polish it afterwards, right? Dress it up, right? So yeah, that's what we've got going on here, and that's what we're going to have to sort out. So I'll come back to you guys and I'll show you the plan and how we'll approach this, yeah? Sorry about the noise, guys. I was just trying to put in the profile that was, you know, dented, and yeah, just kind of recovers the profile basically. Yeah. So when we pair it up with the internal cab, cargo floor, it'll all marry up, or it'll marry up better. There'll be less to do there, guys. You know, I don't know if you can see, but like it kind of it pronounces, or you know, the profile that's in the sheeting already, yeah, and it puts it back there, because this is from an old bus and stuff used to be thrown onto it and hammered, and you know, so it gets any dents out of it, etc. Now we're only going to be using a small piece, and I prefer to go here where, you know, where everything is better condition, yeah. But that's not too bad. See where we've been working, there's a little bit of a, so it needs cutting in here and here to bring that back, and so on, you know. You see, your cargo floors are always bowed, unless, you know, they were working vans one time. Not obviously not a Westphalia, because a Westphalia would have just had the furnishings, but this came from one of my old buses, and it was a working van, you know, and then it was turned into a camper later on its life. So it just gets it back. Just an idea to throw it in there and show you. Last week I was talking about not being afraid to stick stuff in the vice metal, you know, and twist it and feel the malleability of it, and then the more you work with it, the more ideas, you know, the more familiar you get with it. It's like anything. Some of these shapes were kind of driven out of this with the payload of the day, whatever that might have been, you know. It's more like it. Nothing fits up perfectly, guys. You know, unless you're fitting a new panel. You know, if you're replacing a whole panel and you're putting a new panel, that's a different story. Here we're going back to, you know, patching, and that's where you learn your art. Yeah. And I tell you, these are not malleable. These floor cargo floor pans or panels, they're not malleable at all. They're very, but then again, you know, the rigidity is got by having all of these profiles, you know, or corrugation. That's what causes it to be so rigid. But yeah. That's how you put it back anyway, guys. Just, you know, that's how you put back the profile and get it all straight, yeah? Okay, so what we're going to do, guys, is we're going to be cutting a piece of this out now, right? I'll show you. Show you here, guys. Okay, so you see that? Now what I've also done, guys, is you saw down there and you saw the previous welds and stuff. So what I had was I had a piece of timber down there. So I had a piece of timber down there, and this was wrong, okay? This bottom panel was up in the air here. So I've straightened it all now, yeah? Straight enough that I'm happy with it, yeah? Straight edge here. There was a massive, you know, there was a massive difference there, yeah? And now that's, you know, that's what we're talking about, because the rest of it was, you know, the rest of it was good, as you can see there now, yeah? It was all fairly good. It was just here, you know, where that panel was. There's still a bit there, look. Yeah? But it's harder to get it because it's back here. You know, I've got this part, and as far back as I could reach diagonally from through this hole, you know, like this kind of thing. I put a timber in there, and I was able to thump on it here with the lump hammer. You know, some weight, some serious torque into it, but that's as good as we get it. So happy enough with that. Okay, so I'm figuring this, guys. I'm figuring this one out, like I said. I may have to stay down here on the low, yeah. Okay, guys, so what we've got here, right, for your own, you know, historical dimensions, if ever they were required, we've got 85 mil, right? 85 mil to where it just goes out onto the flat, yeah, here. So if we say 85 mil here, that would be that there, and 85, and we're just shy of 150 mil, which is 6 inches, and 150 brings us out here, yeah, which gives us cover. And what else do we need? So that's kind of going up there like that, and then if we, yeah, so I think just to be safe, we'll actually go a bit wider on this, guys, because looking at it now again, which you should always be doing, this is a little flat here, right? It's a little flat, and we may have to put that into it, okay, to make it, these are a little bit higher, this one's a little bit flat, yeah, different, slightly different profile, so we'll add on a bit here, okay, just in case we need to reshape this one and make it better. So just slap that on there and put another roughly ½ inch on there, yeah. So if I cut that out, that's what I'll do next, just cut that out, and this will be coming off it later on, and we'll see how yeah, as you make your piece smaller, okay, then you know you're getting down into it, and it helps, yeah, it helps speed the process up, and you feel more reassured as you go forward, you know what I mean, because now you can actually get it in and fit it and see a bit more, you know, and you just keep on, it's increments basically is what I'm saying, you just do it in increments, you know, and not rushing it and thinking it through, Okay, so I'll cut this up and we'll bring it back and have a look at it. Okay guys, so we've made it a little smaller now. And we can see this is a really critical dimensions that we're working from, yeah, at the minute. Okay, and we have to kind of take a look at what we've got underneath. So we have these here now. Okay, so we kind of follow that, and what we've got underneath is what's important here, right? And in this area, if we work this area, the way I see it, is the way I'd go about it. Okay, so for instance, if we were to trim, it's getting complicated if we were to go on the ridge here, which would be the place to really, you know, this ridge is easier to weld on the ridge. I said that now. So, but I think we're going to have to go for down in the middle. Okay, so again, I'm going to cut in the middle, and from here to here was 85 if I remember. So that's ballpark there now at the minute, right? So we can definitely cut this in half, cut it up there, and then what we want to make sure is where we're going to go this way with this cut, and that gets this piece done, if you know. Yeah. So if we come up the middle here, that's okay, we've got meat under. We're kind of getting short right on this little corner here. So that's where we're going to have to, yeah, we'll have to keep that if we can, yeah. But we can just about, because it just finishes here. So, again, $85, make sure we're in the groove. Now we've got 85, and maybe a little bit more up. Okay, so get our marker. So we're going up through the center. That gets us our 85. And then if we have that line there, stay maybe further up that way than anything else, and we have the line here. So again, stay. We can always trim it after. So if I go from here, take that out, yeah, we should definitely, yeah, we're well up at that. So that now gets us that part of it done. Stay in the middle. We're going to do our joints in the middle. $85 there, and down below 85. We're in the groove, right? Meaning this is sitting on top of that. What else have we got? We can cut that afterwards with a scribe, yeah, and we have to form this. There's a little bit of forming to go on here, but I think when we have this cut out now, that'll let it down another bit, you know, because it's sitting up on the shoulder in here underneath this. It just won't let us down, and then we can see what we have to do with the rest of it, yeah. So cut this out is next, and we'll take it from there. Okay guys, so you can see what I've done here, yeah, I've trimmed it up, and that's what I mean, look, yeah, it fits, you know what I mean, back this end, yeah, you get a better fit, and because that's the marking up afterwards. Right, so we still have meat underneath it. Of course we have to measure our 85 is essential on this one, right, because that's our locator, yeah, of where it's going to be, which is there, yeah. need to put even more. So again, I think what I'll do is take off here now, guys. Well, I don't want to. I want to make sure I have meat under there. Yeah, so I run right out to the corner. Yeah, I'll try that one. Yeah, you can see that. Take that much off now. It's a big chunk to be taken off, but I think we can, you know, we can afford at 85. Might not take quite that much actually. That's 85 there, roughly. What we're doing is, yeah, I'd better stay on the inside of that line, okay? So I'll just nip that off. This is holding us up here now, okay? So if we just twist this up out of the way at the, for the minute, okay? Because I don't have my big pliers with me, guys, but the old faithful, yeah? The old faithful will just do this for now, because I think we'll be I should take this off now, because this is a stiffener really, and it isn't going to allow us to do anything, so I'm just going to knock that off, yeah? Cutting action is out of view, but okay, look at that, yeah? See, we're getting there slowly, yeah? And that's how it is, guys. That's the way it works, slowly and incremental. Yeah, because this is actually, you know what? 85, yeah? Is all, one measurement is all we needed so far, is 85, yeah? Okay? So we've got cover now, and we can weld. We know we can weld all that. Okay? And that's going to have to go down, I can see. Obviously, I think this needs to come up actually here in the middle. That's hammered down there or damaged. So I was trying to put holes in it or whatever. So yeah, and then we can work this piece last, right? Because this looks a little short from here to here. Looks a little short. And maybe from here to here, you know, from the ridge. But we can do that after as well. Yeah? I'll show. I might do something with the bolster and the hammer as well. And when you have it tacked in, you know, where you can manipulate steel once it's tacked in, you can actually manipulate it. So, like, I'd be all for now scribing, right, and just cutting out to the scribe. No more than the scribe. Just cut the scribe. Yeah. All right. I think we're right on it there on the limits. So if I got my scribe now, I could nearly take it from here, guys, you know. And this panel as it is going down the way. That's another thing I'll explain whenever that comes up. But like if I scribe here now all around it, this is going down into the opening. There's no left or right, or, you know, there's no changes in the actual aperture. You know, that's an important, you can forget. But when that comes up, when that presents itself, I'll show you that as well. You know, that it can cause you problems. Okay, so I think we're good to scribe. Like for instance, if I scribed here now, right? And then when we let this down, you're going to have a gap between your scribe and where you cut out, you know, so you wouldn't do that. Yeah? But we're not going to come up here and scribe here, and then when I drop it down, I'm going to have a gap, obviously. But then having said that, I left this piece long, remember? You can always cut off, you can't add on. So as regards the scribe mark, let's get that done now. Okay, so before we scribe, we check again. 85, yeah? From there, 85, and I see my line here. It's a little forward if anything. You know, so Maybe if I put the tape across them and see. That's the, yeah. So that looks fairly good to me. Okay, so I'm gonna scribe. Definitely all of this area is good. I don't use a marker. I try and scratch the steel if I can. Because, and I never cut that scribe mark. I don't cut it, I leave the scribe mark and I can go back afterwards if I need to. Remember the last video? There's some paint on here, all kinds of stuff, guys. You have to be careful if you make. Now, I'm not going to go any further than there with this cutout, right? Because these are the areas I'll be concentrating on a lot. Here, this line here, yeah? Notice if there's anything like that, I go inwards with the line, because we can always take it off after. Let's see what we've got. Yeah, it's enough to go on, right? So now, guys, that's, yeah, all I need to be here, definitely inside this white line. Can you see that white line? Yeah, and here inside the line with my cut, and here, look, there's a small little bit here, and we'll see how it goes, you know. We haven't done any cut here yet, so we'll see. That's maybe safer, leave that for now, right? So let's get that cut. Okay, there's a couple of marks here. There's 2 or 3, guys. Yeah, so won't take a chance. Okay, Okay, so it's that one. I'll just leave my finger there and chop that off, shall I? It's looking better already, isn't it? Now this is where, when you put your hand in a hole like this, you certainly do not rush it. Take your time, because this is lethal, okay? It all needs to be cleaned up with a file, etc. Yeah, because that will open you. Okay, now you can see where we're going with this. So that's now, guys, that's the first part of the cutout, we'll call it. Yeah, you can see how accurate that is, right? So now, like I said to you before, you can see a black line along there. Not the Black Line pub. That was a great pub, yeah. But the black line. Now, what we can do is we can polish this, okay? So we get this guy with a 60 grit or 40 grit, even if you're, you know, just take it down a bit. And that needs a battery. Yeah. What I basically done was just ran along there, okay? And it brings up the thickness on the metal. The last thing you want to be doing, guys, see, I've cleaned it. As you can see, the majority of it is clean, right? And I've done that with like a paint stripping wheel, okay? Not a 40 or a 60, okay? That's taking too much metal away. And we're talking 1 mil, so you don't want to be losing any metal. So what I did do, and what you can do is, when it's painted like that, you could just, you know, but you're not supposed to use a cutting disc for that kind of stuff, but just, you know, one run, that's all, just one run. That's not what a cutting disc is for, and you shouldn't do that with a cutting disc, right? But with experience, you'll know that because your disc can shatter, right? If you do that, and you do it kind of like anyway, you can see how this is going together now, yeah? And how our ridge is lined up, you know, the ridges, right? The shoulders, or the highest part, you know, the crown of that corrugation. So look, that's starting to fit in there now, like, really, you know. But I wouldn't be happy with that as a fit up now. I'll have to take some off here, and I will take a little piece, just one run maybe, so that it all fits in, you know. This is the most important bit, guys, is the fit up. You know, it's the same as my last video. Now I'm turning this out to be how to fit this as well. But I suppose if you haven't been on here before, it's no harm. Yeah. So, you know, there's a little bit to be taken off here. I'll run one up across the back on a 60 grit, say, here as well. And this is the last piece, you know, because I think this seems high. And obviously, look, this isn't, you know, when you take a look at it, right? But it's malleable. The 1mm that you get in the bodies of old classic cars and all that, yeah. It's I forget. I did have the code for this type of metal. It actually is there's a code for it, right? It's not just ordinary mild steel, right? It's actually softer and more malleable, so you can actually, you know, you can manipulate it. But anyway, that's kind of where we're going with that. Yeah, so I suppose, look, I'm going to continue on to trim it, and I'll bring you back and I'll show you what the trim should look like, rather than you know, me keep just going on about taking bits off. I'll just take them off, and then I'll show you the kind of fitment I'm talking about. And we have this corner, look, here, and then we'll do this bit last, okay? Because I may have to put this in the voice yet, and I may have to flatten this completely and reshape it and put a ridge into it, okay? So, and that's the last legs of this. finally then, and remind me of this, guys, in case I forget. Don't want to put my hand in there. There's that piece of wood that I used earlier on to shove down this floor underneath, yeah, and level it. So that's what that was for. And this persuader, right? And a link to box section that I was like kind of holding on to, etc. up here. So that's it. Okay, we're going to cut this, yeah, along that line, and that's going to make a template for, yeah, to get the contours. What I've gone and done, guys, is, remember in the last video we made this little piece, yeah, for the patch panel underneath the bus. So that's how we done it. And again, we need to make something that I've just done this with a bit of scrap, right? So we need to, what I've gone and done is I've flattened all this, right? Because the contours on this were completely wrong, yeah? For whatever reason, right? They weren't as deep as they're supposed to be. I don't know if I shot that or not, just to show you. I'm starting to just show the bits now that are really essential to see. But yeah, now we have an option, right? We can cut this. We can cut this here and just add in two. You know, two that are the right profile. That's one way of doing it. Or another way of doing it is flatten this, which is what I've gone and done. I hope you enjoyed the tips, the tricks. I hope you'll find them useful. I hope they'll help you, right? And get out there and get stuck in your project now, okay? I'm going to leave it at that, guys. I'll see you all in the next one. Please like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell for notifications, yeah? I'll see you all in the next one, guys. Take it easy. Ciao.